I thought Chelsea would beat Everton last night, but no prizes in getting that right. But I certainly didn't think it would be 6-0. A first half blitz. Cole Palmer, absolutely brilliant he was. Yeah. He's got to be on that plane to Germany, I think, with Gareth and the rest.
Certainly in the conversation.
He's in the conversation, Simon, of that there is no doubt. Pochettino, he said quite a bit afterwards. There were so many backstories in there, Simon. Penalty awarded to Chelsea when they were absolutely cruising.
Yeah.
And there was a fight over who was going to take it. It became a bit of a pushing match between Palmer, Jackson, Madueke, Gallagher. I mean, well, I'll ask you something after this, but Pochettino said, I'm not having that.
They know, the player knows, the staff know, the club know, that the taker is, on penalties, is Cole Palmer. All that happened after is a shame. I am so upset about the situation. We were talking in every single country they were watching the game, and we cannot send this type of image. It's a shame. I want to apologize to football people and our fans because that is unacceptable. And the discipline is the most important thing on the team. That is a collective sport. When you ask me about why we are not consistent, why we are not performing sometimes, why we show some good performance and then we drop in our, because the standards, the young squad need to have, they are a very good active of the club, but in the same time, they need to perform for the team.
You see, Pochettino, I think you think he could have been briefer with what he said there, but does it not show the immaturity that he's hinting that he's still working with?
Yeah, I mean, these are his charges, and they are going on the pitch under the auspices of what they think they can and can't do. So this is the culture that he is in part responsible for. But he's right to address the subject. I mean, the subject can be simply addressed as, that won't happen again. This is a big football club, and these boys better realise who they're playing for. End of conversation, move on. I don't think he needs to apologise to the fans. It was a circus. The team were winning 4-0. It doesn't overshadow the performance that the Chelsea fans would have been crying out for over the course of the season. And seeing their side play in a manner, I mean, they were helped by the haplessness of Everton, but notwithstanding that, you know, it's one of those, and of course it is. They're young players, and they're in a club that's more, you know, that's changing and building a new culture with a new ownership model and all of the expectations and the constant ridiculing of how much money's been spent and the performances haven't been sufficient enough, and they don't appear to have enough leaders on the field, and they don't have a backbone. Whatever you think of these players, they were leaders, the John Terrys of the world. I happen to think they were great leaders, and that kind of culture wouldn't have existed at that time. But they aren't at that stage, so it's unnecessary, unpalatable. And Pochettino has addressed it. I don't think it's a deep-seated malaise. I think the players hopefully will have had their minds concentrated about who they play for. It's like that old John F. Kennedy sentiment, isn't it? Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Yes.
In this instance, don't ask what your club can do for you, ask what you can do for your club. And what you can do for your club is get on with winning some games, and the penalty taker is Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
And the fact that the young fella has got the wherewithal to go, I don't think so. And have none of it. Cole Palmer had none of it.
Yeah.
You know, that is what a top footballer should look like.
Simon, just in Cole Palmer, before he moved from Manchester City to Chelsea in the summer, he had never scored a league goal. He's got 20 to his name. He's joint top scorer with Haaland in an indifferent side. Good point. Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's getting better. And of course, confidence is a massive part of a footballer. And you know, it goes so quickly, and it takes some time to come, which I never understood, because they've all got such big mouths about what they are and what they aren't entitled to, but their confidence goes like that overnight. But he's in a rich vein of form. Some of the play that he, you know, the goal that he scores, you know, when he nutmegged the centre-half and then curls it into the bottom corner, was just world-class. The whole move was world-class.
Yeah.
The way Chelsea played out from the back, the movement that they put into that particular goal was brilliant. That's what Chelsea should look like. And if Pochettino's beginning to build that, then people like me... might be right in the shorter term than people laughed at.
Do you think Gareth is going to continue to be right to play Pickford as his number one? I mean, Graham Souness sat there in this studio and said he's a bit of a bomb scare. Last night, he had his moment of bomb scarity.
Well, the challenge is that has he let England down? And that's an argument that gets constantly advanced when it comes to other players as well. And B, are the other protagonists that can take his space so compelling that you move them out? Put
in Jack Butland, be done with it.
Well, You might well say that because he's up in your neck of the woods. But as a matter of course, Jack Butland has had opportunities for England before. He's been quite happy, Jack Butland, until recent terms, to sit on the bench. That doesn't tell me that that's somebody that's really chomping at the bit to be the best.
I think he wants his opportunity.
He may well do now, but he was prepared to sit on a bench at Palace and Man United for a few seasons. You know, if you set into that mindset, that tells you something about yourself. But I don't think, Ramsdale's now been marginalised. So where's the compelling argument? Where is the absolute... We don't have this Ray Clements, Peter Shilton, Joe Corrigan, Phil Parkes sort of set of circumstances. True. We have goalkeepers that are very good.
Great names in the past there, Simon. So a topsy-turvy season for Chelsea, but how different a perspective will it be given if they end up, Simon, usurping Manchester United and Newcastle and secure a Europa League spot? I mean, it'd be incredible from this point.
Well, given the fact that...
The 3 points adrift.
Well, I suppose they are, and they've got a game in hand.
Got a game in hand.
And sometimes you can't bounce until you hit the bottom, and maybe Chelsea have hit the bottom and they're starting to bounce now. I don't know. But they'll have been to a cup final. They're in a cup semi-final. I mean, they've got the most difficult team to play in that cup semi-final, so I would expect them to be ejected from the FA Cup. But if they do finish inside the top 6, then whilst it won't be a brilliant season... Given where they've been during the course of it, it'll be written up in a different way than the writing has been previously. What we've had before is profligacy, waste of time, dysfunctional. Chelsea fans are unhappy with the ball. The team's performance suck. Top players aren't doing particularly well. They've wasted money on players that can't even trap a football. And if it comes out that they finish 6th in the league and get to a cup final and a cup semi-final, albeit that's not what Chelsea was fueled on the last 20 years, the narrative will move. It will move a little bit because it can't not do. Right.
We'll talk about Chelsea and FFP very shortly in the company of FFP expert Stefan Borson.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.